following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene here with you, looking at the first 2 weeks of the season and the Week 3 matchup for the New York Giants. The New York Giants are 0-2 to start out the year. But wait, here's the good news. I think you got a game that you can win this week. Coming up against the Atlanta Falcons, you're at home. This should be a spot where you get to feel a little bit better about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has not been bad through the first 2 weeks of the season, but we still believe that he's extremely limited. And I'm still not sure what I feel about this team as a whole, as far as the team chemistry and everything. Last week on the sidelines, we saw Kenny Golladay getting after Daniel Jones, and then it came out later in the week that he wasn't upset at Daniel Jones. He was upset at Jason Garrett because Jason Garrett sucks as a coach. We all know this. But it's when you have things like that and then, piling on top of the preseason where you had fights in training camp and stuff like that. To me, this looks like a team that's just not in a good spot.
You competed with the Washington football team last week on Thursday Night Football, which was impressive. Mm-hmm. Thursday Night Football's weird. Mm-hmm. Talent doesn't always win out. But here's the thing I'll say. You have turned the ball over a very limited amount of times, in spite of the fact you got completely dominated by Denver and you played a good defense in Washington. Mm-hmm. There are things to like about Daniel Jones. You have to be able to get him out of the pocket. He's never going to beat you with his arm. He's just not. The athleticism, he's a very athletic kid. But you had a great run for Daniel Jones. Guess what? Pulled back by penalty.
Yep.
And against Washington last week. And I look at this. I look at the schedule going forward. Just look at who they play before the bye. Aren't there byes in Week 10? Mm-hmm. You got the Falcons this week. Then you go at the Saints, at the Cowboys, L.A. Rams, Carolina Panthers, at the Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders. There's not a win in that. There's not one win in that. Yeah. If you don't beat Atlanta this week, you will be 0-9. And there are no lies told there.
0-10, because after the bye, they get at the Bucks.
Yeah. I mean, you could be 0-10. Mm-hmm. Do I think this is an 0-10 team? No, I don't. I think you were done no favors by the schedule.
Yep.
You played three of your most winnable games were your three first games, and were the three first games of the season. Mm-hmm. And you're already 0-2. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, the offensive line has been the big bugaboo for this team, and it's going to continue to be. It's the main fact that Saquon Barkley can't get going. I don't think that there's anything wrong with Saquon Barkley. Some people do. Some people look at Saquon and go, oh, well, he just doesn't have it anymore, or he lost it. The season-ending injury last year ruined his pop. I don't think it did.
I think he's going to go nuts Sunday. Mm-hmm. He's one of my favorite DFS plays of the week.
Yeah. Last week, it was one big 44-yard run, and then a whole bunch of 1, 2. There were a negative in there somewhere. It doesn't look good for the most part, but we still know that Saquon Barkley can hit the big ones.
If you take out the 41-yard run that he had last week,
yep,
he's averaging 2 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. And Devontae Booker's averaging 2.5 yards a carry. And Elijah Penny's averaging 2.5 yards a carry.
Yep.
The only player on this team that can run is Daniel Jones because the pocket breaks down and he can take off. Mm-hmm. The line's not good. Dave Gettleman's done you a disservice. And frankly, as a fellow New York sports fan, God bless, I hope you fire him after this year. Because the record's going to be bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the Giants' record at the end of this year is going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. On the bright side, I do see pieces. James Bradbury's been very good. I don't like him against Calvin Ridley this week because I've said he's not great against great route-running corner or wide receivers, and that's what Calvin Ridley is. Mm-hmm. I think this will be a fun game. If you don't win this, it's going to get very loud very quickly. Now, looking at how Vegas sees this, I would have had this as about a 3.5-point Giants advantage, and it's at 3. The thing's scaring me, and it is scaring the piss out of me. The Sharps are on Atlanta. I don't like Matt Ryan outside. I don't like Matt Ryan in MetLife, because there's always been, wind swirls there. He gets screwed mentally by that, which is funny because he played at Boston College.
Right.
I'm going to take the Giants. The funny part to me is that the Sharps are heavy on Giants in the money line. They're heavy on the Falcons against the number, which is just a really weird hedge to me. So just a bizarre hedge to me.
I think this is a very winnable game for the New York Giants. And as a Saquon Barkley fan, I am pulling for Saquon to have a big week
I think this is the week he gets right. I think this is the week Kenny Golladay gets right. I mean, a lot of things, it is not overly difficult to score points on the Atlanta Falcons, as evidenced by the fact his Buccaneers just hung half a hundy on them. So this is the week to get right. And this is the week to see, do you have pieces moving forward, or is this a complete tear it down and start all over again?
Yeah. Again, you do have a couple of pieces, but for the most part, I'm going to be, until I see otherwise, I'm going to be on the tear it down side. Top to bottom, all of it. Joe Judge can stay. Joe Judge can stay, and a couple of the players. But for the most part, I think you need to hit the reset button on this whole David Gettleman era for the New York Giants. But this week should be a good spot against the Atlanta Falcons, so best of luck to you, G-Men. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. We're always in the Wicked Weed studio here in the Sportsocracy. Check them out at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you'll see all of our content as it comes out here over the NFL season. And, of course, we're live every weekday morning at 10 a.m. We'll see you next time.